Today on the newscast, a new Iranian drone designed specifically to target the Israeli cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa. Plus, Israel exposes Iranian missile factories in Syria at the doorstep of the Jewish state. Things are heating up. Get all the breaking details next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. We've got a very important update today on the wars and rumors of war front regarding Israel and Iran. But before I get into it, real quick, I want to tell you about my good friends at Meir Panim. The Jewish high holidays are just around the corner, and for the people of Israel, it's a time of hope for a better year ahead. Yet over 2.5 million Israelis live below the poverty line, including 1.1 million children and 1 out of every 3 Holocaust survivors. Meir Panim's restaurant-style soup kitchens are providing warm meals to these needy Israelis in a comfortable dining setting. If you want to fulfill the biblical mandate to bless Israel and help Meir Panim provide Israel's hungry with the food and care they need, just visit meirpanim.erickstakelbeck.com. It's a great cause that we truly believe in, so you will want to check that out. Okay, in the meantime, much to discuss in the world's most volatile and strategic region, the Middle East, and how it affects you no matter where you live. Major developments today on the Israel-Iran front. Number one, Israel's Defense Minister Benny Gantz is in New York City right now for the annual Jerusalem Post Conference. Now, this attracts top Israeli leaders, officials every year. This year was no different. And Gantz made some pretty stunning revelations today. Not surprising, but stunning in terms of the detail that he provided on Iran's missile factories in Syria at Israel's doorstep. Now, Gantz provided a map for the audience and showed various Iranian missile factories in Syria scattered around the country, but the factories of particular interest, according to Israel's Defense Minister Benny Gantz, are located in northwestern Syria in the Masyaf region. Now, that may sound familiar to you. Of course, in recent weeks, we reported how Israel has carried out airstrikes in that region. And of course, we've seen a major uptick in those Israeli strikes in Syria in recent weeks. And now we are starting to learn why. Minister Gantz's speech today went a long way towards providing details and information showing, hey, Israel has to take action. This is an imminent threat, and red lines, at least Iran is at least attempting to cross those Israeli red lines. Now, in particular, Gantz mentioned a facility called the Scientific Studies and Research Center, CERS, C-E-R-S for short, that's based around that Masyaf region in northwestern Syria. And Gantz said that is where a good deal of Iran missile production is taking place. And one of these sites, at least in Masyaf, is underground and fortified, where Iran is churning out these advanced missile parts to provide to its proxies like Hezbollah and others around the region, and of course, for Iran itself to use. They are developing what Gantz called, quote, advanced munitions in northwestern Syria. And not only in Syria, folks, Gantz also said that Iran is building these missile factories in Yemen and Lebanon as well. Now, that may go a long way towards explaining that Israeli strike in Yemen back in early August, where some Iranian militiamen and proxy members were killed in Yemen, which of course is the stronghold of that Iranian proxy, the Houthis. So Iran is spreading its tentacles across the region and now using its influence in places like Yemen, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon to plant and entrench their military forces, number one, but number two, to develop weapons there on the soil of these Arab nations, which are effectively satellites of the Iranian regime. And Gantz said today, and I quote, "They must be stopped." And folks, you have to believe that Israel will go to great lengths to stop this Iranian missile entrenchment in nations that are, with the exception of Yemen, which are on Israel's immediate borders. Hey, to the north, when you're talking about Lebanon and Syria. Now, this plan to develop Iranian missile factories in other nations at Israel's doorstep was apparently hatched, no surprise, by the not-so-dearly departed terror mastermind Qasem Soleimani before he died, that Iranian terror master who, of course, was killed in January 2020 in a U.S. drone strike in Iraq. He was the mastermind, but the program, apparently, if Minister Gantz's speech today is any indication, continues unabated even after the death of Qasem Soleimani. And hey, again, these are advanced munitions. Israel has said that is a red line. Folks, I'm thinking in particular of those precision-guided missiles. You've heard the term many times here in the newscast in recent months, PGMs for short, which would be a game changer, no doubt. They do exactly what their name says. Those missiles are designed to hit the target with great precision and great accuracy. Again, a major game changer for Israel's enemies, Iran and Hezbollah in particular, if they were to acquire this precision-guided missile capability. So I predict if Iran continues to push here and try to establish these missile factories, you will see Israel continue to act and strike them and take them out, and rightfully so. Look, Israel cannot allow this imminent threat to gather on its immediate borders. It is a non-starter for Israel. And by the way, just a memo to Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian dictator. We talked last week on the newscast about Israel's recent warnings to him and basically putting him on notice, because these are Syrian military bases, folks, that Iran has apparently commandeered and is now using as missile factories with the knowledge of Assad, of course, who, again, has welcomed Iran's forces into Syria. And guess what? If Iran has its way, they are there to stay as the guests of Bashar al-Assad. Now, one more point before we go. A brigadier general by the name of Haidari, who is the head of all Iran's ground forces. This is a major player. Again, a brigadier general made some very troubling comments today. He talked about a new drone called the Arash 2, apparently a new Iranian-produced suicide drone. Now, some people have said in the comments in the past, don't use that term suicide drone. A drone is not a person. It can't commit suicide. Well, many in Israel have used this terminology. It is a drone that can be packed with explosives and flown into a target, hence the name suicide drone. I didn't coin the name, but many have called it that. But at any rate, this new Arash 2 long-range drone, Brigadier General Haidari boasted about today, and he said that it is specifically designed to target two cities, Israel's second and third largest cities on the Mediterranean coast, Tel Aviv and Haifa. Now, he said this drone has, quote, unique capabilities, but he did not elaborate any further. But a long-range drone, in the words of Iran, designed specifically to target Tel Aviv and Haifa. Thankfully, Israel, of course, has that Iron Dome missile defense system. They're also developing that Iron Beam laser defense system to combat, in particular, the drone threat and, of course, the rockets, the missiles. But Iran is trying to, and with some success, no doubt, equip that ring of fire of Iranian proxies that surround Israel right now on all sides with the lethal combination of missiles and rockets and attack drones. And they're very proud, is the Iranian regime, of this domestically produced drone program. And this is apparently the latest to come off the assembly line. Certainly Israel is keeping a very close eye on this. In a future military conflict between Iran and Israel, no doubt, attack drones, Iranian-made attack drones, will be a major component of it. Hey, we're keeping a very close eye on all of this, folks. Keep it in prayer, because God Almighty still sits on the throne. Don't be discouraged, be encouraged, because God is in control. He sees what's unfolding. He sees the Iranian regime's plans before they even are hatched. And I believe ultimately those plans will come to nothing. But you'd rather know, I think, than not know. Now you know how to pray, and you are aware for such a time as this. Last note, programming note, on Wednesday, September 14th. Wow, already mid-September. We will have another Watchman Newscast live stream here on the channel between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to join us and bring your questions for our Q&A session, and give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Watchman Newscast. Until tomorrow, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.